Okay. All right. Does it make sense what we're doing? Okay, we're just finding out ways of writing down the tree into a table. Okay. All right. So what are the Nash equilibria? I think we found them before. It's that and that, right? That's what we did before. Okay. So it makes sense? Yeah.
Can you explain something a little bit more?
Yes. Should I do it with this example?
Yes.
Okay. So let's see. Bigger. We will do lots of that though in a second. Okay, so to check whether something is something perfect or not, we have to go back to the tree. And I think this was 1, 0, right? This is 1. Okay, so let's take the first move. Okay, this Nash equilibrium is going to be east, west, east. Okay, so makes sense? So I found that Nash equilibrium in the tree, that's that. Sorry, I found it in the table, that's that. Now I'm going to put it in the tree and check whether it's something perfect. Okay? So first I write it here, so the goalie is going like this. And then the striker is going west at the top node and east at the bottom node. Okay? So this is what I'm doing. I just simply put this back into the tree. Okay, what's the definition of subgame perfect Nash equilibrium? The Nash equilibrium is subgame perfect if in every subgame people's play corresponds to a Nash equilibrium of that subgame. So what do? I look at this thing and just look at the subgame. So one subgame is this. Okay? Forget about all this stuff. I just show you this part. If I just show you this little bit here, is the striker's move, does it correspond to a Nash equilibrium in the subgame? Yes, right, because the striker is getting 1 instead of 0, right? The striker cannot gain by deviating. Right? So the striker is playing Nash equilibrium in this game. Does that make sense? Okay, how about this? This is another subgame. If I show you this alone, is the striker playing a Nash equilibrium in the subgame? No? Well, what's the striker getting in the subgame? 1. If the striker deviated, the striker would get 0. So can the striker gain by deviating? No. So is this a Nash equilibrium? Yes. Okay, so in this subgame, people are playing according to Nash equilibrium. In this subgame, people are playing according to Nash equilibrium. Let's look at the whole thing. How about the goalie? What is the goalie getting? 0, right? By playing east, the striker would then play west, and the goalie would get 0. If the goalie were to deviate, what would the goalie get? Also 0, right? Can the goalie gain by deviating? No. So is this a whole Nash equilibrium in the goalie point of view? Yeah. See what I'm saying? So is this a subgame perfect Nash equilibrium? Remember the definition? A Nash equilibrium is subgame perfect if in every subgame people are playing Nash equilibrium in that subgame. Is it a subgame perfect? Yes.
Should you always start at like the end of the model of the tree branches and then work backwards?
Yes. So that's what backward induction is essentially. So I'll tell you how that works. But just as long as you apply the definition, you just simply have to check every single subgame. In this case, it's always easiest to check the ones at the end because they're the simplest. Yeah. So this whole thing is we'll call subgame. Okay, in other words, this Nash equilibrium is. Okay. Makes sense? Do you want to check the other Nash equilibrium? Okay, let's try. Write that down. What was it doing to its west? Okay, is this subgame perfect? Okay, let's check. If I were to show you this little subgame alone, Is the striker playing an Ashika in the subgame? Yes. How about over here? Yes. For the same reason. How about here? It's the goalie. Is the goalie playing an Ashika in the subgame? The goalie's getting what? 0. If the goalie would deviate in the end, we get what? 0. So can the goalie gain by deviation? So this is also subgame. Okay, sometimes you write estimate. Okay. We'll do lots of examples of that, so don't worry. Okay, anyway. Is it clear what we're doing, Elise? All right. Oh, yeah, both measures. Okay, so you can write it this way. Oh, so this is again the punchline. To specify a person's strategy, you have to write down an arrow from each one of the rows. A strategy is a complete contingent plan. So for example, if I just showed you this, this is what I wrote down. Would this be, yes?
Oh, for either of the games, I'm not quite sure, like, I'm kind of confused by if the goalie goes east and the striker goes west. Why, like, the goalie going west and then east is part of, like, the game.
Okay, so this tree represents everything which can possibly happen, right? So it's possible the goalie goes east, striker goes east. It's like it's the whole spectrum of things, right? So there's always an issue, which is what do we actually observe? In this case, the goalie goes east, the striker goes west, right? So it's as if, well, it's not as if, this part never even occurs, right?
Right.
So it's like, why do we have to think about it? That's kind of the interesting question, right? So, but the answer is you still have to think about it because to understand why the goalie goes east, we have to think about what would have happened had the goalie chosen something else, yes? Right? So we have to think about if the goalie had chosen west, what would have happened? Okay, so you have to, whenever you're making choices, you have to think what would have happened, even if those things do not actually happen. Make sense? So that's why we still have to think about this part here. This part is still relevant, even though the goalie goes east. Does that make sense? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Okay, this will come up again in a second. Anyway, like I was saying, going back to here. If I wrote this down, is this the correct answer? According to this thing here? No, right? Because a strategy is a complete contingent plan. To specify the striker strategy, you have to specify what happens at every single node. Okay, so you might say, well, what actually happens kind of goes to your question. The goalie's going west, the striker goes east. This is what occurs at the end. Okay, is that sufficient? The answer is no, because to understand why we ended up here, we have to understand what would have happened had the goalie goes east. So we have to specify what the striker would have done. Make sense? The short answer is, from every node, you have to color something. It doesn't know what to about it. So you have to specify what happens with every node. All right, let's do another example. This is second grade lunch. Did we do this last time? No? Okay, so you're the dad. You have to think about whether you want to give a kale salad to your second grader or money. Because your kid can get, to buy something at, the school lunch or whatever, school cafeteria. Okay, so the kid can either, if you're the dad, you give kale salad, the kid can either eat it or refuse. If you give the money, so if the kid refuses it, it's kind of like that with everybody. Kid's hungry, dad's unhappy. Okay, and I think if the kid eats it, that's the best thing for the dad. That's like win. And for the kid, it's just like barely better than not eating anything at all. It's pretty bad. Okay, how about money? Well, if dad gives money, then kid can either buy a hot dog, or, which I think, so the hot dog is pretty good for the kid. So the hot dog, the kid likes it 6, and the dad is kind of like, well, at least the kid's eating something. Okay? But even worse, the kid could buy a Pokemon card. And that's actually the best thing for the kid. And that's like totally the worst for the dad, because that not only is the kid not eating, the kid is wasting money. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. So the interesting thing is, kind of like if you're the kid, can I threaten my dad and say, hey, don't give me that kale salad, give me the kale salad, I will not eat it, give me money instead. Okay. All right. This is the version with the pictures. So the yummy kale salad or money. The kid can either eat it for $1 or buy it $1. You used to be able to buy still in Manhattan you can buy a pizza slice for $1. You can get a Costco, exactly, you can buy something at Costco. You can buy a hot dog for $9 at Costco. You can eat or refuse, and then you can buy the hot dog or something. That's just an error, it's not a great piece, I've got to say. That's new. Kids are still really into Pokemon. It's so probably going strong. Like 5-year-old kids are totally into it. So it's like going on for 30 years. Okay. How do I turn this into a strategic farm game? Okay. So how do I turn it into a table? What are the dad's strategies? That's easy. Kale or money, right? Okay. How about this? Kale or money. What are the kids' strategies? Don't eat. How about if I did this? Don't eat, so eat or not eat. Is this okay? No, why? Yeah, you still got to specify what the kid does with the money, yes? You see what I'm saying? So this is clearly insufficient, right? As it is. Okay. All right. So this is wrong. No. How about this? Dad does kale and money. Kid does hot dog or Pokemon card. No. How about this? Now here the dad does kale and money. And the kid that says can either, this is eating the kale salad and buying a hot dog, or refusing the kale salad and buying the Pokemon card. Is this sufficient? Maybe? No, why? Why is it not sufficient? Yeah. There's still other possibilities, right?
Yeah.
You could refuse, for example, you could eat the kale and buy the Pokemon card. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
You've got to specify what happens in each possibility. Right. So this is also no. How about this? What's wrong with this? Is that a right strategy? No, because it doesn't specify what would you do with the money. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So this is not right either. Okay. No. Okay, this is the right way. Okay. How would it work? Okay, the dad has 2 strategies. How many strategies does the kid have? 4, right? And you basically have to look at all these possibilities, right? Does that make sense? So it's possible the kid will eat the kale salad and buy a hot dog with money, eat the kale salad and buy a Pokemon card with money, refuse the kale salad and buy the hot dog, refuse the kale salad and buy the Pokemon card. You see what I'm saying? The kid strategy has to specify what the kid does with every possibility, every contingency. So let's fill in those numbers. Let's see. Let me write down the trio. Oops. I just want to, so I can make one. Okay, let's see. Dad is Did you notice I put a little accent on the E in Pokemon? Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you appreciate that. Okay, so let's turn this into a table. Okay, now let's see. Okay, what goes in here? This is where the dad does a kale, and what happens? Does the kid eat it? Yeah. So dad does kale, kid eats it, so we're up here, right? 9-1. Okay, does that make sense? How about here? What happens here? Dad does kale, and what happens? Kid eats it, right? And so so we're up. What is it? It's still 9-1. You see what I'm saying? Right? So this part, right? They're different because they're different in what the kid would have done had the kid been given money, but the kid was not given money, so this part is irrelevant. See what I'm saying? Yeah.
It's basically saying that the dad decides first, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Just like that. Yeah, exactly. Okay. How about here? This is 0-0, exactly right. The dad does kale, the kid refuses. So, dad does kale, the kid refuses. How about here? 0-0 also. How about this? This is the dad gives money, and what does the kid do? Hot dog, right? So it corresponds to dad has money, kid does hot dog, 4-6. How about here? This is the Pokemon card one, right? Dad has money, kid buys a Pokemon card. How about this? Dad gives money, kid does what? Hot dog, 4-6. Okay, and then this is what? -1. Okay, does it make sense? How I did this? So this is how I turned it into a strategic form game. Okay. Let's do Nash equilibrium. Oops. Well, let's see. Let's just do it. Okay, if the kid does this, what's the best response of the dad? The 9, right? The kale. If the kid does this, what's the best response? The 9. Kid does this, it's a 4. And then the 0. Okay, if the dad does kale, the best response is these 1s, right, to eat it. If the dad gives money, what's the best response? The 9s, right? Okay. So I think I have 3 Nash equilibriums, do I have? Oh, I just have 2, yeah. Exactly. Those 2 up there. Okay. It corresponds to kale, kid eats it, buy a hot dog. Kale, kid eats it and does a cooking cup. Okay? Alright. So, let's check this one. This is what we just did. Is this subgame perfect? So this is called Nash equilibrium, which is Nash equilibrium is kale, eat hot dog. So it's kale, eat, and hot dog. Okay, so this is a Nash equilibrium. Is this subgame perfect? Okay, well, let's just check. If I look at this little subgame, is the kid playing something reasonable here? Yes, this is a Nash equilibrium subgame because the kid is choosing 1/0. How about down here? Okay, is the kid choosing something reasonable down here? No, right. The kid, if I show you this game alone, the kid is choosing 6/9, which is not right. This is not a Nash equilibrium because the kid would want to deviate a bit. Does that make sense? Okay, so is this subgame perfect? No. Okay, so we can do it this way. So I write down dad, kale salad, kid eats it, kid eats a hot dog. Okay, this is not subgame perfect because of this down here. The kid's choosing 6/9. Okay, how about the other one? This corresponds to here. Well, maybe we'll just do it. Why don't you just do it on the screen? Okay, I'll just do this one. Okay, dad's going to kill salad. So I write the arrow that way. The kid's going to eat it and get the Pokemon card. let's check this subgame up here. Is the kid playing a Nash equilibrium in the subgame? If I were to show you this alone. Yes, kid's choosing one of these. How about in this subgame? Is the kid choosing a Nash equilibrium in this subgame? Yes, kid's choosing one of these. Now let's check the dad. The dad, by doing kale salad, is getting what? 9. If the dad would deviate, get money. And then you go on, right? So is the dad playing a Nash equilibrium? Yes. Is the subgame perfect? Really? As long as they're playing a Nash equilibrium in every subgame, it's subgame perfect, right? So in this subgame, are people playing a Nash equilibrium? Yes. How about here? Yes. Oh. Here, the kid is, right? Kid's choosing 9 over 6. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We're just looking at the subgame alone. Exactly. We're just looking at the same. Yes, this is subgame perfect. Yes. Make sense? Question? Yeah.
Can you explain one more time why the other one wasn't so
Oh, the only difference between this one and the one I have on the board is that here the kid is choosing hockey. Right? Here the kid is choosing hockey. Okay. So remember the definition of subgame perfect? Something subgame perfect if in every subgame people are playing a Nash equilibrium in that subgame. Okay? So let's just take a look at this subgame alone. Pretend the rest of it doesn't even exist. I just show you this alone. Is the kid playing a Nash equilibrium? In other words, can the kid gain like a deviate? Yeah, right? The kid is getting 6. The kid could get 9, right? So this is not a Nash equilibrium. Yeah? So therefore the whole thing is not subgame. In other words, sort of the kid's doing something non-credible. The kid's doing 6 instead of 9. Yeah. Let's see if the dad deviated. The dad is getting 9, right? If the dad did money, then the dad would get -1, given that what the kid's doing. Yes. Yes. Any questions? Yeah.
So the right answer is -19 instead of 4.
Okay, what is the answer? So the right answer is, so the subgame, the Nash equilibrium is this whole collection of strategies. So what actually occurs is 9 and 1. That's what actually occurs. But the subgame perfect Nash equilibrium is specification of strategies. The strategies is a complete contingent plan. And so it means that you have to specify what happens to everything. So I have to write down an arrow for everything. That's what it is.
So do we ignore what the dad, like his sales are at this subgame? Because when the kid gets Pokemon, or the dad is getting -1.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, so like that's a good question. In this subgame alone, it's as if the rest of it doesn't exist. Okay, it's like this doesn't exist. This is it. This is all you see. The kid's the only player, so we don't care about this. You know, the dad is just irrelevant. You might say, well, you know, the dad would rather get a 4, right? But the dad has no power. It's just all the kid here. The only relevant number is 9. Yeah.
You compare the 9 versus the -1 when you look at
The 9 versus the.
like the top.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. If I'm looking for dad, what's going on? So remember, in a Nash equilibrium, it's always like I take everyone else for granted, right? They're fixed. So if the dad has kale salad, the kid will eat it, so the dad will get 9. If the dad were to deviate, play money, in the end, the dad will get -1. Yeah, so 9 is better than -1. The dad does not want to deviate. Another question? Yeah.
So in this situation, the metric program is not just really equating for the situation.
No, this is a Nash equilibrium. Yeah, this is
But
fine.
it is, I mean, the other one that was not, it was measured for the European, but however, it was not such being perfect.
Correct.
So it is meaningless, absolutely.
Okay, so again, this is a Nash equilibrium, but not subgame perfect. This is a Nash equilibrium, which is subgame perfect. Okay, how are they different? They're both Nash equilibria. If you believe that people do not do non-credible things, then you would only do subgame perfect Nash equilibrium. For example, remember, go back to the kidnapping example. If you think the family can say, any kids of mine will not be given, you know, will not be pay ransom to any of their kids, and therefore the kidnappers don't kidnap. That can happen, right? But it does involve the family playing a non-credible strategy. So if you don't like that kind of logic, then you would only go for a subgame perfect Nash equilibrium. Okay. Any questions? Okay. I want to make sure. Yeah. Wait for it. Yeah.
So this in its entirety is subject to perfect Nash equilibrium
Yes.
because we're specifying our strategies.
Sure.
But the thing that we would actually observe, the only thing that would actually happen, is is that dad gets the chaos out.
Correct. Exactly. So the equilibrium is a specification of strategies that is writing down the arrows everywhere. But the thing which actually happens is just this. It would not be enough to simply say 9-1 is the equilibrium. You have to specify what equilibrium is. That makes sense? Yes.
Will there be like a way to differentiate like the two? Like, is there a tone like for just what the kale salad and heat would be? Like, because like we have like the Nash equilibrium and we have like the subpole thing. Is there like a tone just for what makes sense, like the cow salad to the heat? Like, because for backwards induction, don't you usually just get like heat kale salad?
Yeah. Okay, so if we did backward induction, then we would get this guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you would do heat kale salad, but even if you did when you did backward induction, you still have to figure out what goes on here.
Okay.
So we'll do that in a second. Okay, anyway. All right, hold on. A lot of these things will become clear examples. Let's do a high school problem. Okay. So one can either ask or not. Two can either do what? Say yes or not, refuse or not. Refuse or go. Okay, and then we're going to say that however, if two refuses, then one gets to go to two's house and serenade. Okay, so let's put payoffs in. What if one doesn't do anything? Say 0-0. What if one asks and two goes? Well, this is good for one, but say two doesn't really like one very much. So it's like, this is best for one. But it's like, yeah, this is a harsh situation for one. Okay, so 2 gets -10. 2 doesn't want to go. Okay, if 2 refuses and 1 doesn't do anything, what happens here? What do you think? Probably -10. 10? That one doesn't mean that. I think it's -10, -5. Right? It's not like 10. That means like 2 would actually like to be asked and refuse. Right? I think. So I think it's something like that. This is bad for 1. Also, the best thing for 2 is just never go out in the first place. Okay. How about for the serenade or whatever? Okay, for me the serenade is this is like a bad situation. This is like terrible for everybody. This is like a mess. Okay. All right. Okay. So the question kind of is maybe 1's threat to serenade will make 2 go. That's kind of the question. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, so let me write this in as a tree. Oh, jeez, I can't do this all over again. So 1 can ask or not, 2 can either refuse or go, and then 1 does either serenade. This is going to be 0. Okay. How do I turn this into a strategic form game? Okay. How many strategies does 1 have? 4, right? 2 possibilities here and 2 here, right? So we have to write them all down. How many strategies does 2 have? 2, right? So it looks like this. What is this? Okay. This is what 1 does in this node here, where the ask or not. And this is what 1 does in the last node, that is if 2 refuse. You see what I'm saying? Yeah? I used if statements, but I can get rid of if statements. You okay with this? Yeah. Okay, so let's fill in these things. What goes in here? If one asks, and then this, so one asks, and then two, if asked, refuses, and then what happens? Then the serenade occurs, right? So this is, I think, minus 100, minus 20. How about this? This is one asks, and then two goes, right? So it's this. See that? So it's 100 minus 10. How about this? This is one asked, if asked, refuse, right? And then not serenade. So this is the minus 50, minus 5. Yeah?
So for the not asking them if you serenade, how is that possible if you didn't ask?
Okay. So we're talking about this guy here?
No,
You see it?
no,
This.
down
This one.
to the last.
Yeah, this is an easy question. So you're saying, okay, this is one says, I don't ask, but if they will refuse me, I would serenade. Okay? So how does that, doesn't even make sense, right? Because if one doesn't ask, this part of everything occurs. So what do we have to write this down? Okay, the way to think about it is the following. There's basically two ways. One is basically a strategy always has to specify what happens at all nodes, even those nodes which do not occur. And so another way is just a definition. Remember, the strategy has to be complete continuous planning. You have to specify what happens here and happens here. The other way to think about it is this. Okay. One's decision whether to ask or not depends on what 2 does here, obviously, right? Whether 2 refuses or goes, that will affect one's choice. But 2's choice depends on what 1 would do here. Right? So one's choice here does actually depend on this choice. See what I'm saying? In other words, for example, if the threat to serenade is successful, then 1 will ask. You see what I'm saying? If it's not successful, then the 1 will not. So this affects this, which affects this. So I have to specify this when I think about this. So that's what I do. Okay? All right. Let's keep on going. How about here? This is where 1 asks, and then what? 2 goes, so it's 100 minus 2. Is it clear where I'm getting these numbers from? Or how it's happening? Okay. How about this? This is where 1 doesn't ask. Then what goes in here? Hold on. This is just 0, 0. 1 doesn't ask, and nothing else really matters in some sense. Yeah, this is kind of like what you're talking about, right? If 1 doesn't ask, it doesn't matter what everyone else does because nothing ever happens. But we'll just put those numbers in. Okay, so this is the, okay, look, makes sense? And this is the graphical way of doing it. What's going on here? So again, 1 can either has an up or down here, 1 has an up or down here. So these are 1 strategies. You see what I'm saying? I just wrote down what 1 does in each of those nodes. This is what 2 strategies are. Okay? All right. Note that this table is not correct. This is kind of what you're talking about, right? You can say, well, if 1 doesn't ask, why do we have to specify what 1 does here? The answer is that you still have to specify it because that could affect what 2 does. Okay, so this, strictly speaking, this is not correct. Okay? In other words, not asking, this is not a complete contingent plan. This is not specifying what happens in the contingency there. Okay? This does not specify an arrow from every node. Okay. All right. Again, to specify a person strategy, you have to write down an arrow from all of our nodes, even those not reached. Okay. All right. I think there are 3 Nash equilibria. Let's stick to the Nash. We haven't done that yet. Okay, if 2 does this, what's 1's best response? Zeros, right? If 2 does this, the best response for 1 is hundreds. If 1 does this, the best response for 2 is -10. If this 1 does this, the 2's best response I think is the -5, right? If 1 does this, the 2's best responses are the 0s. Okay. Okay. How many Nash equilibria do I have? I think I have 3, right? This one, this one. Yeah, they're all zeros. No, hold on. Oh. No, you're right. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. This one, and that one. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, 3. Okay. All right, so let's look at them each in turn. Okay, so there are 3 Nash equilibria. Not asked, serenade, refuse. Okay. So I write them all down. Let's check whether they're subgame perfect. Okay. All right, so what do I write down here? Let's do the first one. Okay. This is not asked, serenade, refuse. Okay. So it's this. Okay. Let's check. So I'm going to put the arrows into the tree, not asked, serenade, 2 refuses. Is this subgame perfect? Let's check each time. Look at this subgame. Is this credible? If I were to show you this alone as 1, 2, something, no, right? Serenading is just an awful situation. No rational person should serenade another person. -100 is less than -50. Yeah? Does it make sense? This is not credible. Okay, if I look at this alone, 1's action in the subgame does not correspond to the machine. This is not subgame. So this is not subgame. Let's look at the next one. Not ask, not serenade, and refuse. So let's check. Is this subgame perfect? Let's check. In this subgame, is person 1 playing the Nash equilibrium? Yeah, one's choosing -50 over -100. Now let's look at this subgame here. What is 2? Is 2 choosing the best response? 2 is getting what? 2 is getting a -5. If 2 were to deviate, 2 would get what? -10. So is 2 doing the best response? Yes. Okay. Now let's take the whole thing. For person 1's getting 0. If 1 were to deviate, 1 would get what? -50. Yeah? Does this make sense?
Yeah.
In other words, the serenade is not credible. Therefore, 2 doesn't go to refuse an invitation. Therefore, 1 never makes an invitation in the first place. Okay? So is this subgame perfect? Yes. So look at that. Yes, it does correspond to Nash equilibrium. Okay. Check the next subgame. Okay. This is a Nash equilibrium also. And do the last one. This is Nash equilibrium, subgame perfect. This is, in fact, this B. Okay? So the first one was not, second one was, and the third one we'll have to check. 1 asks, serenades, and then 2 goes. Okay, is this subgame perfect? No, right, because just right next to right? This is not mentioned in this. Now look at that alone. It's not a Nash equilibrium in the subgame. Okay, it's not subgame. Any questions about that? Okay, so again, in this game, there are 3 Nash equilibria, okay, and only one of them is subgame. Is there an easier way to do this? There has to be. Yeah, there is. Okay? So if you want to find all Nash equilibrium in an extensive form game, you must write it as a strategic form game, i.e. table, and then find the Nash equilibrium. That's the only way to find all Nash equilibria. Therefore, if you only want to find the subgame perfect ones, you use so-called backward induction. Okay, so it's much faster, and that's what we typically do. Okay, so what does backward induction mean? You start with the end of the game, figure out each person's best response to each node, and then work your way backwards. Okay. So, for example, it's kind of exactly what we didn't do again. It's not exactly. So, let's check with this thing. Let's just work with the end. If you're person 1 at the end, if you're choosing between serenade or not, what would you choose? You're choosing between minus 100 and minus 50, what would you choose? Minus 50. Now you're person 2, you're choosing between refuse and go. If you refuse, you'll get in the end what? Minus 5, because one will serenade. Right? If you go, you'll get what? Minus 10, so therefore what will you do? Refuse. Okay. And because minus 5 gives minus 10. Finally, if you're person 1, if you don't ask, you'll get 0. If you ask, what will you get? A minus 50. Right? So therefore, what will you do? Not ask. Okay. Make sense?
Is there only one subgroup for math equilibrium for 3?
Yes, as long as there's no tie. So sometimes you'll have ties, but yeah, in general. Why? Because everyone makes one choice. Everyone's just book it. Okay, so in this case, this corresponds to the subgroup measure that we just found. So it's almost exactly the same thing that we did by checking. Okay. You see what I'm saying? I could solve it without doing the matrix at all if I just find subgroup measure. This is the SPNE we found it using backward reduction. I'll give you the slides, don't worry about it today. Let's do a kidnapping example. Let's do about backward reduction. What does the family do here? A, right? Because minus 50 is better than minus 100. What does the kidnapper therefore do? Kidnap because 10 is better than 0. Right? Right? If it did not, it gets 0. If it kidnapped, it gets 10. So we do that arrow. That's the SPNE. There is another Nash equilibrium, right? But the SPNE we can find just by doing this thing, without writing the table. If there are no ties is the question. There is only one SPNE, right? Because at any point you just find the one which is the best response. If there is a tie, then more than one SPNE is possible. And you'll see this in your homework. Sometimes you'll see ties. Like in this case, let's do backward reduction in this guy. What does the striker do? Oops. What does the striker do there? West, because 1's better than 0, right? What does the striker do there? East, because 1's better than 0, right? Given this, what does the goalie do? Either one, right? Either way. Okay, so that's one SPNE, yes? And another SPNE is the one where the goal goes west. Makes sense? That's one of them. Yeah.
How would you write the SPNE for the false example we were given on the slide?
Which example?
The false example.
Which game is it?
The not ask.
Oh, yeah, it would be, okay, if you were to write it using arrows, it would be, okay, so the SPNE was what? 1 doesn't serenade, right? 2 therefore refuses, and then 1 doesn't ask, right? So this is alone is sufficient. So I wrote down an hour for remembering to know. If I write it down in words, the answer would be 1 is not, and then if refused, not. That's one strategy, and then chooses to refuse. That's how you write it in words.
Okay.
You see that?
So it's not if refuse, not refuse.
Right.
Okay.
So this is one strategy because it specifies what 1 does here and here. And this is what 2 strategies. But just okay to do visually. All right. This is another one. How about this example? Okay? In this case, what is 2 best response? Well, I don't know. This is a tie, yes? 2 can either do A. If this is the case, what does 1 do? 1 does A, 1 gets 10, 1 does B, 1 gets 9, actually 1 does A. Yeah?
But 2 does B,
Yeah.
time.
Exactly right. So this is an SPNE, but if 2 played down, this is also right. That's also okay, yeah? What would 1 do? Oops. What would 1 do there? Yeah. So this is a case where, in the previous step, the communicate with ESP, how the ties break them didn't make any difference. But here, how 2 breaks a tie can affect what 1 does. Does that make sense? In any case, because 2 has a tie, there are 2 SPNEs. Yeah.
The second scenario is also this one.
Why is it? Because one, again, if I were to show this alone, one is doing the best response, but find the first place to 5. Given that one is choosing a 9 instead of 8. Yeah.
How do you have conjunction when you have like that graph where not one of them is in the
Like this one here?
Yeah.
Okay, so sort of the same. So in this node, what does the kid do? They're looking at this long.
Oh, he eats.
It eats because one's been inserted. In this thing, what does the kid do?
He finds a Pokemon.
Pokemon has 9 been 6. Yeah? What does the dad do? If the dad does kill, the dad gets what? 9. If the dad does money, the dad gets -1, so therefore the dad does. That's it.
Okay. So it doesn't matter that you don't have to.
Oh, right, exactly, yeah. It doesn't, yeah. It doesn't matter, like in this one, you're saying there's a clear end,
Right.
right? Yeah, but there are mixes as many ends, but you can still analyze them separately, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So if we were to write out what the natural movement is, if we wrote it that the way you wrote the tail and the deep pop on top of that,
Yes. It's always acceptable as long as you draw an arrow from every node. That's acceptable. Just remember, an action group is a strategy. Strategy is a complete contingent plan. A complete contingent plan is a specification to do every node. So as long as you draw an arrow from every node, you're okay. Let's do this. Oh, so again, 2 main ideas except from games. So again, perfection, we just did back reduction. Let's do another example. And what is a strategy? A strategy is complete contingent. Let's do this. Yeah. No.
Will you ever ask us, is there any prudent reason to define all match equilibria, whether there's something perfect or not, versus just going to get to something perfect match equilibria?
Well, in a very large game, usually you don't do it because the table is so huge. But sometimes you would, because sometimes you might be thinking about, like, if somebody could do a non-critical threat, maybe it would work. Yeah, so then you have to. Okay, how about this cross-out game? So the way this works is there's 3 sticks. Like this. Each person takes turns crossing either 1 or 2 contiguous sticks. Whoever crosses out the last stick wins. Okay, let's play it. You go first. So you can either cross out this one, or these 2, or these 2. See what I'm saying? And if you, okay, so go ahead. Middle stick. You cross out the middle stick. So I'm thinking, what should I do? Well, I can't cross out both because they're not contiguous, right? So therefore I cross out this, and then what do? You cross out the last one, you win. That make sense? So in this game, is there a clear winning move for first? Yeah, you cross out the middle one, right? Because if you cross out the first 2, then I would just win it by doing that, right? See what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. If you crossed out 1, then I would cross out 2. So you want to cross out the middle stick. Does that make sense? Yeah, clear? Okay, so let's write this down as a strategy form game. It looks like that. What is that? But this is not that big a deal. And you'll have games in the homework go, it's a little bit like this in the second. What's going on here? I'm just specifying. Well, if you're person 1, these are all crossable strategies, right? This simply means you cross off the first stick, yes? This is where you cross the last stick, this is cross the middle one, so you cross the last 2, first 2. You know what I'm saying? No? It's not that big a deal. It's huge. It's huge.
So I can see how it can get big.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, right. Okay, like if you do this for chess, like you have, this is a huge thing. You couldn't run it down given the size of the universe. It's a huge thing, okay? Anyway, okay, so like, if person 1 crosses the first 2 sticks, person 2 only has 1 move, right? Just cross out the last one. See, in that case, person 2 wins. You see what I'm saying? If person 1 crosses the last 2, then person 2 only has one choice to cross the first one, and person 2. How about this? If person 1 crosses the first one, then 2 could either cross the center one, the right one, or both. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not that bad. Right? Okay, so let's do backward induction of this. Okay, at this node, what is 1 going to do? Well, there's only one move, so we just go that way. Well, what about at that node? Similar, right? So anytime you have person 1 just doing one thing, of course they'll do that. How about here? What is 2 going to do? Just that one thing. How about here? What does 2 do here? This is the backward induction part, right? If 2 goes up here, 2 in the end will get what? 0. 2 goes this way, 2 gets 0. 2 goes this way, 2 will get 1. So therefore 2 will do what? Yeah, it'll go to down, right? Causes the bottom 2, the right one's 2 sticks. How about here? What is 2 going to do? Same thing, right? 2 will rather get the 1 than the 0, so 2 will go down. How about here? Either way, 2 loses, so we'll just pick one of them. So that's the top. Now we'll go from here. What does 1 do in the very first move? If 1 goes up here, crosses up the left stick, then who wins? 2 will cross the right 2 and get 1, yeah, and 1 will get 0. If 1 crosses up the right stick, 2 will do what? Play down, right? 2 will cross up the leftmost 2, yeah? And then 2 will win. If 1 crosses up the middle one, 2 will play this way, and then 1 will win. Yes? And 1 will get 1. If 1 does this, then 1 in the end will get 0. 1 does this, 1 in the end will get 0. So what does 1 do? Cross up the middle stick. Yeah? You see what I'm saying? So this is what we did over here. This is the logic behind that. See what I'm saying? Okay? This is the S scheme. Is there another S scheme? Yes, it's the one where what? 2 went down, exactly right. It's the one where 2 chose a different movement. Okay? This is that one. Make sense? So, yeah. You have a question? All right. Okay. Any questions? No, we can do some of the homework. This is all I want to do today. So I think you should be okay for homework. Let's talk about it a little bit. We have 5 minutes. Any specific questions? Number 2. Let's see. Let me just do a few. Okay. Say that you and your brother You and your brother divided 4 oranges in the following manner. So who's the first player? You, right? Yeah, what's the question?
One of the questions asked for us to do strategic functions.
What?
Number 5 says find the sub or represent the team as strategic functions.
Oh, that should just be strategic form. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. They should. Yeah, strategic form. Strategic form. That's all. Yeah. A table. Okay, let's do number 2. Okay, so you can divide up how many? 4 oranges from the left to right pile. So how many choices do you have? I think you have, well, so one question is like, can I have a pile of 0 oranges? Let's say you can. We'll just keep it simple. So let's say, I think it's like this. Like 1 orange here. See what I'm saying? You could do 1, 3. What else could you do? 2 and 2. You can do 3 and 2. See what I'm saying? Okay, now if you do this, what does your brother do? What are the choices? Huh? Left or right, exactly. How about here? Also left or right. See what I'm saying? Now just the payoffs. What goes in here? If you do this, your brother picks left. What's your payoff?
Assuming more is better.
Yeah. Assuming you like oranges, I think I said that. I think it's 3-1, right? You just get 3 oranges, you don't get 12. Yeah. There's 4 oranges, right?
Yeah.
3-1.
You're missing, 2 more.
It's actually
Yeah. We did.
You do it 0?
0,
Okay.
1, 3, 2.
You want to do that too?
On 1 and then 0.
I'll do it this way, 0L for, 4L.
Oh, okay, never mind.
But it's sort of the same, don't worry about it too much. Okay, so you can do it that way. Let's go do that first. What goes in here? 1, 3. What goes in here? 2, 2. Right here, it doesn't matter which one. What goes in here? I think the brother gets 3, so it's 1, 3. This makes sense? Okay. What's it? Okay, find the second proof. So let's do background induction. In here, what does brother choose? Right, gets 3, right? What does brother choose here? Either one is okay. No. How about you? 3. What do you choose? You use the 2 and 2, right? Because that way you'll get a 2. If you do anything else, you get a 1. Good? Yeah. Yeah, there would be another one where
Do you by any chance have more time that I can come aside from Tuesdays and Thursdays? Could you do tomorrow? Should I email you like a time?
Yeah, anytime before 3 is okay. Anytime
Before-
just between 10 and 3.
Okay, just step by your office and I should be.
Ideally, you might have a resolution.
thank you.
Sorry, I just have another question about backwards induction. Because, so for number 1, is this setup correct?
Yeah, but I would do it simple. I wouldn't worry about this.
Oh,
It's either sells for 200 or 1800.
oh, so just assume that the seller. Okay,
And then it becomes a little simpler.
okay.
Yeah.
And then so if the seller sells for 1200,
Uh-huh.
then the buyer can either buy or don't, and then the seller or buy doesn't, and then so I just calculate like the values of payoff depending on what
Absolutely. That's fine.
they valued it at.
Uh-huh.
So then, so for subgame, would you just assume like the buyer, just like assume what the buyer would do here? They always buy,
Right.
and then for here, the buyer would always buy.
Mhm.
So then, would the seller want to sell for 1800 because then they get more? So the subgame perfect would be selling for 1800 and you're buying.
Well, you have to write down every now with every node, right? So buying,
Oh, yeah.
buying, 1800.
Okay, so it'll just be like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you just do that for. So you would assume like one position, and then when you move back a node, you'd assume like the opposite type of thing.
Why opposite?
Or well, not necessarily like the opposite, but like at these nodes, you're assuming like the buyer's perspective, and then these nodes you
Yeah,
just
exactly.
assume the
Right,
seller's.
right, right.
Okay, so you just do that. So like with that orange is you start off with like your brother's nodes, and then you go back to yours, and then you just pick the one in which you would get the maximum.
Well, at any given point, you only, for example, so brother only cares about the last thing. Right? So brother chooses between 3 and 1. Brother chooses between 2 and 3. So that's how you do brothers thing. You don't care about the brother. You only care about the first thing. Comparing the 1 versus these 2 versus 3.
One. Oh, because you're assuming that they
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because most people would like it from your brother's not going to build that. So even if you go that way, you're exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah. So that's the reason you start with the end, because when you start with the end, I can figure out what this is going to do. Once I figure out the benefit, it's moved. You know that you did those 2 different ways. So if you figure out brother is right here, it's so now when you choose this way, you want this way, you would get a 1.
Oh, because you know what they would do.
Exactly.
Okay. Say if you connect it to Oh, thank you. Yeah, right back now. Yeah.
it's the specification arrow, so you have the line arrow down there. So you would this one, you would break it like okay, so remember, starting is complete into that line, specification of the area. So one has two possibilities here and here. Two stretches. Similarly, how many stretches? So they come in a paper. No. But it'll work out. Do you have any questions? Yeah, between 10 and 3, it's okay.
Between 10 and 3. So can I just drop by any time?
Just email me. We'll
Okay.
make sure you do
Okay,
it.
perfect.